Um, it's 9:07, so I think we can start our program. Let me launch the this is our first session of SSL, supervised self-learning. So this is an initiative that I want to take in artificial intelligence arena. And the main focus of this course is to guide people who wants to learn new languages, especially related to artificial intelligence. And the way I have designed this program is we will start from the very basics because there are a lot of folks from different industries like telecom, bio, even accounting that they want to learn more about the AI because AI is something which will and is already actually impacting all the fields across the board. So one critical thing is you need to understand some basics of it. So once if it is even implemented, and not necessarily you might be designing or deploying or developing, but you will be using either way. So it's better to understand them, and if you learn it, that can even give you a good edge so that you can start really upfront. So the main goal of this program is to teach different people who are really interested to learning this, that how you can actually learn it on your own, but we can provide you a overall guidance on these topics that you can able to progress. So the structure, how does it work? The next slide I have is basically the first idea is to build our community. So the guys who have joined this, and I have another session which I will talk about it later on. So this is what I'm trying to do, is basically building an AI community, so that once we start working, once we start programming, once we start developing different projects, we have support available. So if we have a close knit community, we know who is good in programming, who is good in AI, who is good in machine learning, or who is good in deep learning, or who has good analytics skill or some statistics skills, that if you're stuck somewhere, who to reach out to, because that's very critical. You can get all the information or courses available on the web in shape of different organized course, or you can have a lot of YouTube videos. But when you're actually building a project, and if you're stuck, or even you're just starting, you are not sure a lot of times that how to really proceed, or if you're stuck somewhere, sometimes you spend a lot of time and you won't able to figure out how to resolve it, and that normally demotivate a person. So the first bullet point that I have is building AI community, which definitely take cares of that. So if we have a closed-knit community where we have a lot of enthusiasts who are working in this, and they really like to help each other, in that way, when you are building your projects, or even when you are learning, if you are stuck somewhere, we always know somebody who we can go to. All right. So number 2 point that will help you with this program is working with AI experts. So I have a couple of experts already with me who will help us today, and also across the course progress, we will add a lot of experts who can help us. And I am in communication with a lot of good guys who are either working in Apple or Qualcomm, and they have done some really amazing projects, that if they can spare some time with us, so that we can get their insight and see how they can really develop the projects in on commercial basis. Especially, I know few guys who have actually helped develop one of the software which is using now in the face detection for iPhone X. So he's the person who lead one of the teams from Qualcomm side to Apple side. So I'm kind of in a process of requesting him if he can spend some time and join our team on occasion, so he can help us to understand how does this whole project works, and where do we need to start, and how we can get into into the game of into the actual game of AI, deep learning, and machine learning. And apart from that, I have also another, a lot of people who already know Python or machine learning or deep learning, and they can always help us. So I will invite different people on different sessions. So it's not a particular course that you always see that one person is just delivering and just everybody's listening, maybe doing something else, maybe looking into Facebook profile in the background, whatever. But basically, this program is more, I would like to have a better interaction. So what I would expect from everybody is, after like 1 or 2 sessions, everybody can be volunteer for next topic, just learn on their own, and then we can always have expert who can help us out. So it's program for you, by you, and it is for you. So if you guys want to make this program successful, you guys have to participate, not just log in into the Sunday morning with a cup of tea and just watching a TV in the background, and just once the time is over, it's over. That's not, it's not gonna work out that way. So the way it really works is you need to put some hours, you need to go back and study on your own. That's why I keep this course without any charge. It's a free course. Anybody from anywhere across the world can join. And then hopefully right now we are a small community, but it can grow to a bigger community where we can able to get and help each other on a broader basis. All right, so the next item I have is the AI path. So what is the artificial intelligence path that we will follow? So as I explained that the project that I have in mind is to start from scratch, from very beginning, so we can actually include those people who do not have a Python or even or at some level even they don't have a programming background. So in that way, we can also help them. And initially, we will try to be as slow and steady as possible. And after a couple of sessions, we can pick up the pace, and then we can start moving on a bit faster pace so that we can cover more items in a short duration. And again, as I said, on each session, we will try to include different experts so that they can come in and help us out and also provide us feedback. And one of the main goals for us is we can move to our next stage, which is machine learning. So once we have the basic understanding of Python, we can move to machine learning. We will learn about statistics and then different libraries and data models that we need to use in machine learning. That's a fundamental of deep learning. Once we grab and maybe completed maybe one or two projects in deep machine learning, we will move to our next item, which is deep learning. So obviously deep learning is the place you need to be. And as I said, right now everybody is talking about it, but you don't see a lot of expert available. If you go out and try to hire somebody who have machine learning and deep learning expertise, you will be amazed to see there are very few people. And of course, anything which is rare availability, that becomes a very high demand. So if you really want to get into a business of getting working with the great companies with latest technologies, deep learning is a way to go, because most of the projects, they are trying to see how we can utilize the deep learning aspect of it so that it can be automated, it can be kind of working on a real artificial intelligence domain. And once they even input that, you always need the deep learning experts so that they can maintain the system. So not only for building the system, there will be a huge demand, but at the same time, for maintaining a system, there would be a equally great opportunities that you can avail. And trust me, most of the applications that you are started using, like Azure and then Siri and a lot of other things, they are already there. Just a second, somebody. Okay. Anyway, so once we actually able to grab a good understanding of these three items, which is Python, machine learning, and deep learning, then we will start doing our projects. So our projects is basically we will try to initiate projects with we will initiate project with some basic understanding, but once we have some grab of it, then we will try to get some projects from the industry. So just to let you know, a good news that I'm already in communication with a couple of companies that they're interested in providing us some learning projects initially. And if we able to turn around and actually able to provide them demo or mock-ups, there is a good possibility that we can start getting some commercial project at the same time, which will really help you guys that you can actually work on a project and able to get paid at the same time. So amazing opportunities are available. Project is the area which I really love to get into as soon as possible so that we can actually start, creating things, showing off things, and basically inviting other companies to see what kind of technical expertise we have gained in such a small period of time. So a lot of good opportunities. And again, once we have some projects, another idea that I have is we will start broadcasting those projects, we start showing off, showcasing those projects on a different arenas, for example, on LinkedIn, also on a small conferences. There is always a AI conference in every quarter somewhere in US. So we can, the project which really put a value, we can able to go and showcase them. And that would be a great way to actually get into a real deal so that we can understand the real utility of the project. I'm also communication. I'm also in communication with some companies in Canada, and they are doing a lot of work in blockchain using AI. And again, I'm trying to see if I can get them on board and see if they can join us. And so again, as I said, there are a lot of opportunities. I just started this program, didn't get a lot of chance to get on board a lot of companies right now, but I know there is a lot of interest out there, and very soon we can able to get them on board and we can able to really utilize the real power of it. So just to give you an idea so that a lot of people really understand, this is just another a ppt or a course that you can get it and you can, I can teach you something, but this is not at all. This is a different idea that I have. Is more of a community basis, it's more of a self-learning pace, but actually combining all the people who are really interested, serious about it, and working and putting hours towards it. Those guys we can actually, if they will be filtered out anyways, if you're not putting hours, probably it might not even make sense for you to continue. So those guys who are really interested, they want to move forward, they have a lot of opportunities in future to work with a lot of with a lot of good companies and also a lot of great projects. All right, the next item I have is working projects in groups. So how do you work in a project? Again, like you have probably done in your masters or bachelors, that we will try to come up with 3 or 4 participants together, make a group, and basically, and you can also choose your own groups, or if you want help with me, I can do that. So in some shape or form, we will try to have a group where you guys can complement each other. So for example, if one person is really good in programming, other person is good in communication, third person is good in architecture, that would be an ideal team. So each person can complement another, and at the same time, they're learning from each other. So we will see at the end of maybe 3 or 4 sessions that how is the overall participation, and if we have good participation, if we have good count, we can able to start doing the projects and basically start getting more help from other folks. The next one I have is industrial specific projects tool, which I already talked about it. So we will be working on 2 main ideas. One is the projects that we will be working on, and the other is tools. So I also have in mind a few tools that we can develop. There are some tools already available on a test or demo basis. So we can start looking into those tools and see if we can replicate or maybe create even better tools from the examples that we have available. Any questions so far? And you can put your questions in your message bar, so I can able to either unmute you and or you can able to ask a question. Is there any question so far?
No.
Okay. I have 2 chats. Let me see how you can how I can able to get to my chat window. 1 second. Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked me to go to presentation mode. Hopefully you can able to see the presentation mode now.
Is it blocking them? Can you check with them? Do they see it?
Okay. Can you see the whole screen, or you are seeing anything else on here? Because I have in the presentation mode now. Let me unmute. Who is this?
Whole screen.
Okay, now you can see full screen. Okay, thank you. And then the second question I have from here, are you going to record these lectures and share? Yes, we can see. Okay, yes, I am recording it. Again, I will try to post these on LinkedIn and provide the share. So yes, we will try to record all these sessions and share them. And I hope that some people, because of the time zone difference, and then I know a lot of people from West Coast also wanted to join, but it's very early for them. So we will always try to record them and share them. But as I said, it's really useful when actual people can join it, because then it's how it works. So it's not, if you really want to just go through some details, there's like unlimited courses already available. You don't really need this course, or you don't really need the recording, to be very honest, because there are unlimited course. Even if you want to buy, it's like a $10 course, and there are amazing courses available out there on Udemy or Blinda or wherever. So that's not the point, because the material is already out there and it's free. You can even go to IBM site, you can download so much stuff there. You go to Google site, there's a um, whole detailed course level available. If you go to Coursera, there's so many courses available and they're free of charge. So the coursework is not that not that something that I can really provide a big value, because there are so many courses and I don't even want to compete with them. My goal is to see actual guys who are really wanted to work, not just really looking for another presentation or another training material just to collect them in their folder, just to show, okay, I have now 10 trainings, but actually didn't go through any training. So for me, even if you can go to the YouTube and start learning, that's good enough. It's all about how many hours do you put in. You will see when you try to install Python for the first time, even that might take you 2 hours. Why? Because you are doing it for the first time, but you are doing it actually hands-on. And that's the real part. That's the tough part. So attending the training or looking at the course or just browsing through it, that's not going to cut it, to be honest. And this course is, I don't mind if I end up with only 3 guys or I end up with 2 guys, that's fine. But I really wanted to work with those guys who are seriously interested and need to make a difference. In the past, I have done some Salesforce presentations and trainings, and actually like 70–80% of them able to get a really, really good job on a very good positions on very good companies within 6 months, starting from scratch. They have no IT background. They have never worked in a commercial space, and they were able to very successfully get to the point. But the reason why I did that, it's not because the training is awesome or I have provided something special, is because they put their efforts. So the main thing is, if you guys put your effort, if you're interested, then we can do it. And this forum, as I said, it's more for the collaboration. It's more for a community concept, and then connecting you guys who are really working to the actual industries. Because you know that there are a lot of people who have done courses, who have done certifications, even AWS certification, Salesforce, and they are not able to get jobs. And a lot of guys actually call me all the time complaining the same thing, that they have spent 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, completed 2 certifications, 5 certifications, but they are not able to get a job. And obviously that's a big issue, because whenever you apply for a job, you don't have experience, you don't have any actual projects, then it's going to be very hard to get a job. That's where I was thinking, and I've been getting calls for more than a year. And that's where I come up with this plan, that this plan, we will use it to connect to you to actually start your work. So if you're not working, then I will try to put you on projects which are either paid, unpaid, but you can actually put them on your resume. So you can actually start working within next few weeks, and you can start putting that on your resume. You might be working on a project which related to a company, and you can actually put the company name. You will have a manager who is working, you're reporting to, things like that. So this program is more for those guys, especially if you have information but you're struggling to get a job. And then the reason why you're struggling to get a job is you don't have experience. So how to get the experience? Either you fake it or you actually make it. So instead of faking it, because that's not ethically good, and that might even haunt you sometime, and you might not able to perform well, you might be kicked out anyways, and a lot of people don't even able to get that because development in something is so critical that if you even get a job by saying whatever, once you start your job, within 1 week they know you don't know it, and you are basically out the door. So again, just to give you an idea, that this program is especially to cater those guys who feel that they're struggling actually getting a job, even having the certifications from different institutions, or even have a degree or a certification like AWS, Salesforce, Python, Coursera, whatever you have. So that's where this program will make a difference. But again, only those guys will be able to utilize it. If you are engaged, if you are working on a project, then definitely it will help you out. So now next I have is basically how does it work. So on a high level is basically what we have done so far is on a high level overview of carefully selected topics during our just a second. Okay. So the idea is basically what we do is basically with the help of a couple of experts or what I'm going to call it. I don't even want to call anybody expert, basically who are working in the field, or they have more experience than us, who are already working in, for example, our first module is Python. So whoever is working in Python, they have worked in the industry, they know what is useful, what is not useful, which aspects or topics are really useful when you actually go into the industry. We will select those topics because any language, any topic is very, very vast, and you don't want to spend your time on things that you can learn anyways once you start working. So we only want to concentrate on topics which is really value and right now to learn from the start, so that you can able to make it to a job, and then you can learn on the job during that. So we will select topics very carefully so that you can able to start on those topics which are of the highest value. The second is basically we will have participant will be studying and researching on the topics during the week. So whatever we study, I would expect everybody who is really interested in the project is to go back and actually exercise that, work on it, right? In couple of weeks, if they got good understanding of the project, then basically we will ask you to present something, a new topic that we will discuss. So every, once we completed 2 or 3 lectures from the basic, we can ask every group, if we have groups, or every individual to start looking into the next topic, research it, and maybe present some piece of it. And then if we have anybody who has more experience, can able to either correct it, clarify it, or provide any more feedback if needed. So again, this is a hands-on course. There is a not lot of material that you would expect, but we have a running sheet of Google where we will start putting a lot of online resources which are available, and then that sheet can work. Again, we will go back and consult with each other, whoever has gone through them, and we basically will try to prioritize those courses which has higher value, easier to learn, things like that. So you can just start directly from that courses, and you can study the topics that we will be looking into our next week class. Individuals and team will be presenting their work. So again, as I said, this is a very community-based project. I would expect everybody to participate, present their work, whatever they have done in the last week, this week, and then maybe they can present the next topic. So we will discuss as we go along that how would exactly it will be working. Setting up teams to work on a project or discuss about that, sharing study material on Google Sheets. So as I said, I have some material already available. So I have another a friend of mine, Atul from India. He's one of our mentors or trainers. I have Sanaullah. He's with me here. He's also a trainer. And I do have a bunch of other guys who are really good in Python. They have done a lot of amazing projects. So they all can be helping out. Maybe you will see different faces on different sessions. So as I said, they will start sharing a lot of information in there. Atul actually have presented, shared a lot of information, which I didn't get a chance to upload on a Google Sheet. I should hopefully do it today. And then I will share the link with you guys. And you can also start sharing if you know any links in there. And that would be a running sheet so that we can continuously add, and you guys all will be adding material in there, and I will add material. And then, it will be a center repository for the different courses or anything that we are looking for. Then sharing, then we have coordination utilizing LinkedIn group. I also have created a LinkedIn group. So if you get a chance, you can search. There's no link available right now. I know LinkedIn groups are a little underutilized, but we can still do that. So if you search for supervised self-learning for latest technology, you will find a group under my name. So you can able to join that, and then that way we can be communicated. We can open more channels as we move forward, so we know exactly who guys are who are the folks who are actually in this program, so we can have more coordination, more close coordination between them, between teams. So we will definitely address those items. All right, now the next I have is Python use cases. Again, I just started putting that down, but I can even ask other folks to contribute. So for example, the Python biggest use case. I know we have a lot of participants who belongs to the telecom industry and some other industry, but automation, I personally used Python automation in last 2 years for all our reportings. And usually we don't have enough resources in US, or at least in our teams, who know Python well, and they have to outsource all those Python based reporting and functionalities outsourced to different regions so that they can create the reports and bring it back to us. So again, at that point of time, I do understand that how critical is that, even though we work in an environment where we don't really need that, but it's being used everywhere. Reports can be automated, they can run automated, you can actually have different functionalities in there. So their options are limitless. The next thing is IoT. Everybody is really jumping up and down in IoT, especially in telecom industry. They're thinking, oh, IoT will come. It will give them a lot of hopes, but the hopes is there. But if you know the right tool, so if you don't know how to connect them, how to work on their software, then basically there's nothing for you. What you're gonna do in there? There's no optimization, there's no design, there's nothing. Everything will be how to connect the different devices, and the brain of it is probably, for example, one of the use cases, strawberry pie. Is it Raspberry Pi? So Raspberry Pi is basically one of the platforms that you will be using to connect the different devices, and there should be more. And again, as I said, we will get more specific as we go along, but these are the areas where you need to learn, and if you really want to utilize those advancement, you need to know stuff, so you can actually contribute. So just knowing that IoT is coming, it will connect device, won't cut it for a job, or won't cut it for if you want to do something on your own. So you need to really start learning right now, because that's the way to go. And again, I mean, you will see once we start learning, Python is not as difficult as it used to be, but because it's becoming more and more easy and user friendly. Then we have a lot of applications in games. There are a lot of games that are being developed. So you have a lot of games that you can use it. Then we have Java applications being replaced by Python. So there are a lot of reasons that, because there are not a lot of functionalities that Java can perform, and a lot of applications which are you see online, or a lot of tools that are using, there are many of them are Java based. And at this point, it's becoming that, okay, now why not you convert them into Python? So for example, if there is a wave of conversion of from previous software to new software, you can imagine how many new jobs and opportunities can be created in that arena. Better interface with mobile, and there are so many. I just start typing it in, but there are so many other examples that you can think of, because Python is a fundamental of the AI. So again, if you are doing anything with the AI, or even data scientists like R and all those tools, this is all critical. So once you start looking into that, you will see that there are a lot of advantages with that. Okay, with that, let me just basically, I just have these couple of slides that I want to go. Now let me see if I have any questions so far during whatever we have discussed.
No.
Assalamu alaikum, Khurram. Can you hear me?
Yes. And who is this?
This is Umar. I'm here from Dallas, Texas, and it's a great initiative, by the way. But anyway, what is going to be the duration of these sessions every Sunday?
So the maximum duration I have in mind is 3 hours, like 9 to 12.
Okay.
And if we need extra hours, so as I said, eventually we will get into groups that we will be working on. So after that, even if you want to have separate sessions, you can always have separate sessions with your groups at any point in time. But as in general, when we are recollecting with the group, we have 9 to 12 for Sundays. That's the only time we will be meeting in a week.
Okay, good. And is there any limitation of number of people who can join, or?
No. So it's a very open platform. The only limitation I have is from Zoom. So they said I can have 100 people, but if I cross at any point in time, I can even buy another package for 200 people. So literally there is no limitation. There is no boundary. There is no profession that I can say, oh, because you are only working in IT, or you have a software background, then only you join. No, this program is actually I'm more interested to work with the guys who have absolutely no background. They are more than welcome. Because just to give you at this point of time, I also want to take the opportunity to let you know, I have another group starting in parallel to this, which is a more advanced group. So that group is actually called Advanced AI Project Group, and that group will right away start working on the projects. However, for that project, I'm working with those folks who already have done projects, and they have really good, deep understanding of Python. They have done projects in machine learning, and they have done projects in machine learning already. And they have a very good hands-on experience. So that group is a separate group. And out of you guys, if somebody feels like that they belong to that group, just ping me or send me an email and I will add you to that separate group. So that group is basically where we will be working right away off the bat to projects of actual implementation. And then, as I said, once we have some some demo or a showcase project ready, I will start knocking all the companies down and see if anybody is interested to even either sponsor or even let us know what the use case they have. And I'm very hopeful that I will be able to get them. So as I said, these are two groups which are working. This is more basic group, and anybody from anywhere around the world or any profession, even they have experience or no experience, they are more than welcome to join.
So would you mind if I will start sharing this information with within my group? We do have several forums within, in Dallas Fort Worth, where we can actually share these kind of initiative. So if you do not have any limitation on number of people joining, then I would like to actually have other people. And there will be people who will be part of your advanced group, and there will be people who are going to be part of your basic group. They may jump at one point, they may jump from the basic to advanced level. So if there is no issue, I'm going to be sharing that information with the...
Absolutely. You are more than welcome, and I love it. I actually got acceptance of more than 80 people. I only see 20 participants, which a little bit lower than I was expecting. But again, I was also expecting the same thing, because a lot of people have signed in from West Coast or different countries. The time is different. And I know a lot of people from different countries, they don't sometimes don't able to actually correlate the timing. So that also happens. But again, as I said, you are more than welcome to share between your peers, between your groups, even if they're not in US, anywhere in the world. If they can join it, if they have internet connection, they can join it. Basically, it's open to all. And as I said, I have right now a block of 100, but I can even buy another block of 200, and we can go to 1,000. So I'm really hoping this platform can go bigger. We have a lot of plans. I'm also working in the background with a lot of other companies to actually start doing AI conferences. So hopefully within 6 months to 8 months, if we have enough traction, we can start doing our own small AI conferences. So just to let you know, guys, for example, if you are really into conferences and want to learn more, I was very interested in one of the conference in New York. It just happened last week. But guess what the ticket price was? $1,850. So I'm sorry, I can't afford that $1,850 dollar ticket for just 3 weeks. So basically, some of these are become really commercialized, and they're just kind of making money, although they have like pretty much unbelievable list of sponsors. Even then, the ticket price is so high that at least person like me, I cannot afford $1,800 ticket. So what my plan is basically to even go to a next level and start doing a lot of conferences locally. I can start from DC, New York, Dallas, San Francisco. So hopefully it will be a kind of a revolution for AI.
So would you mind sharing the link for your advance also, because I'm going to actually share, I already have this link, but I would like to have the link for your advance session. Sure. And the schedule. Yeah. So I
will send it out to you.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I see another hands. Is there any other question?
Hi, my question was, all your trainings would be related to Python and AI, or would there be anything related to AWS?
Okay, a very good question. So as I said previously, like when I actually launched this program and did a couple of videos on YouTube, I did mention 4 different areas, which AI was the first one. And then I have cloud computing, which is AWS part of it. Google platform is part of it. And then we also have CRM that we have different CRMs available, Salesforce and Microsoft CRM, Dynamic CRM. And then we have also cybersecurity, right? So really, I want to get into all 4, but eventually. So the first task I have, because based on the responses that I got through almost 3 months, I able to see that AI was the top priority. Everybody wants to learn AI. So I kind of initiated from AI, but the next topic that I will go into will be related to cloud, which is obviously we'll start with the AWS part of it, and we will also try to mix other platforms also, because I don't know if you know, but like if you're actually working in a real environment, I'm hearing from a lot of people that not just one platform is good enough. So if you know more than one, because sometime a company buy AWS as well as the Microsoft Azure, right? So if you know both of them, it might be even more helpful. So in that way, you have something extra qualification than rest of the other folks, and then again we will do that. So I will also try to expand, but it might take maybe 2 months or 3 months. Once we get a good show running for the AI, then definitely that's something. But in the back end, I will be keep working on that.
So Khurram, can I share one thing with the person who had a question on AWS? We do have AWS online training, but it is within DFW we do have group. We've been actually training the people on AWS.
Okay.
Just to share that Amazon has awesome day, AWS OME day. It's a road show, and they've been actually doing their 1-day free seminar in different location. If you're going to check AWS OME day, you will find out, and you can just sign up. We do have in Dallas next week, and they have online 1-day. Means Google Cloud does offer free session for the people who does have some budget.
So we will include all those information, so you can put that in a Google sheet that I'm gonna forward. So yep, definitely that will help. So any other question regarding this session that we will be running for the AI part? I see some hands. Let me see. Actually, myself using this Zoom tool for the first time. I've normally used GoToMeeting, so I'm kind of still learning and struggling. So maybe if you can unmute yourself, that's fine. You can ask a question. I don't know if you can or cannot, but let me know if somebody has a question. I can try to unmute if you cannot yourself. Yeah, so you guys can actually unmute yourself if you want to. So feel free to let me know if you have any question. If you don't have, then we can move to our next item. Okay, so it looks like it's good. So I think the initial understanding is set up, and let's now move to actual start of the project. So the first item that we will be going through is actual installation. So we will start from the very, very basic, that let's say you never even have installed Python. So we will start with our first item for the Python installation, and then some basic understanding of how it works. And again, if you already have some expertise in that, just bear with us so that other people who don't, they can able to get the idea. However, if you already know all that, I would still request to wait or actually hang around for another hour. We do have Dr. Hasnan joining us from Saudi. He's actually visiting. He's a local in US, but he's visiting for a course in Saudi. And he should also actually talk about agile methodology for about 45 minutes. And that's a very good session you should be attending. And again, as I said, the main goal of this is to join and bring in a lot of experts. So without any further ado, let me ask my colleague Salwa, and then I also have Atul on the line. So these two guys can show you how to actually install Python and able to how to basically walk you through different steps. And then you can also share your screen to run a small sample program so you have a better understanding. So let me ask Sana to join.
Hey, good morning all. In Northern America, good evening in Asia. So as Khurram told, that this is our first session basically related to our AI platform. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
You can mute if somebody.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this is our first program, and you know that the ultimate goal is to basically make everybody able to do some sort of contribution in AI. Now, if you are not interested in machine learning, right? So your AI not only limited to that. It's not only limited to that. You can use your learning, whatever you learn in Python, in different fields. It includes data sciences, it includes IoT, and at the end of the day, right, everything will combine in AI. So you can be part of the whole process by going into one of the domains and whatever you are interested in. So for example, if you're just interested in data sciences, just use Python for that, or you're interested in IoT, or gaming or web interface or whatever you're interested in, you can use it in that. Now, since this is our first basic program, we'll start from the very basis of Python, and there would be people in the group who basically will already know what Python is. They have already coded in Python. So few things will be really boring for them at the very start, but, and that's our goal, is that since it's a basic group, we want to start very slowly and go with the very basics of Python. So we'll see that what it is, how to install it, how to basically write simple codes, defining variables, working with the variables, defining functions, defining loops, defining conditional operators, object-oriented programming, threading. So all these concepts which are very core to Python, we are really go slowly in this one so that people get a very good idea about it. And once you know all these things, then it will become really easy for you to go into a specific domain of Python wherever you want to work and basically utilize all this knowledge which you gain from here in that. Now, the most important thing is that like any other session or course, right, it would not help you if you just watch it, because things would look really simple if you just watch it. You'll see that commands are really simple, and you see that, okay, yeah, I understand it, what it is. No need to go and practice it. That would not work, because until you practice, you will not be able to code anything. So even if things look really simple to you, do a lot of practice, go create your own program, think of your own stuff, whatever you can think, and then basically utilize that in future. And as Khurram told, that we will have a separate session which will be more for the advanced users. So the idea would be that whatever they will be doing there, the projects, at the end of your course, they will come as a mentor to this course and show that what we have built with Python, so that it will bring something to your knowledge also, and you know exactly how the projects are built in the other session. And then we will gradually move from here, if you are still the part of the program, and to go to the advanced program and create the projects of your own. So with that, let me start sharing my presentation. Just give me 1 minute. Actually, this is a Mac environment, and I'm really prone to Windows, so it's new for me. So just open the presentation.
This is yours, right?
Yeah. Okay. So basically,
share your screen.
it should be already shared.
Just ask them if they see the
Can you see the screen, guys?
the presentation.
Presentation. Do you guys see the screen, the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So Python was first developed in 1991. It's a simple language. Once you see it and you have already coded before in C, C++, Fortran, Java, in school you may have done learned one of these languages, right? You will see that things are really simple in Python. There are few things which basically take a lot of time in other languages. It can be done really quickly in Python, and we'll see that. I'll not go much into this because Khurram has already gone through that where it can be used. Basically, what we want to do is that we want to see that how we will be using Python and how it. So let me directly go to installation of Python and see that how it is done. So basically, for the first step, you'll have to install Python in your machine. And you can see the link to my screen. Have you guys already installed Python, or you have to do this? Just wanted to confirm.
Installed already.
Okay. If you have not, it's a very quick process. You go to this link, and Khurram will share with you python.org.
We also have sent the installation guide.
Oh, yeah, Khurram has sent the installation guide. Okay, that's good. And it's a bit different for Mac and PC. You'll have options to install either in your Mac machine or your PC. Just install it on your machine. Once you install it, you'll see a python.exe file wherever it's created. Click on that. It will take you to the command prompt, and it will show you basically a view like this, where basically it shows you the command line or the console for Python. You can even go and do a simple program in this console from here, but we'll not use this. And to go away, leave from here, just exit, and then you'll leave. That means that the Python is installed and it's working in your machine. It should not take you more than 5 minutes to install Python. It should be a really quick process. So once you install Python, right, you need an environment to code Python. Now, there are different environments or different methods to code your program. There are text editors which are available. Now, text editors, they are not basically specific for Python mostly. They are for any language. So for example, if you're writing a Python code and you put your file name as, like, for example, abc.py, which is Python extension, it will understand, okay, now this is a Python code, and then it will start coloring the comma, then the text, how it is. But if you don't give the name, it will not know which language you are coding in. So let's say if you want to use text editor, any text editor, you'll have to basically install it. Sublime Text is available, Atom is available. You can do one of these if you want to use text editors, but we'll not be using this one. And you can use one of those. The others are notebooks. The example is Jupyter. Jupyter is also good for learning, because in Jupyter, what you can do is that you can basically write code, and like 3 or 4 lines of code, and then you can see the result in the very next line of multiple lines. You can even do it IDE environments, and we'll see how it happens. But for initial learning, Jupyter is good also. The only disadvantage of Jupyter is that it's very heavy duty, and it comes basically with Anaconda environment. And if you install Anaconda and with Python with that, it takes a lot of memory for you. So, and the third option is basically IDEs, which is integrated development environment, which basically used in the industry mostly. Different companies use specific IDEs. Basically, these are developed specifically for Python. They are, you can have the community edition, which is free, or there is a cost which is associated with the full version. For this course, we will use PyCharm community edition. So what we'll do is that we'll install PyCharm in our machine, and we'll use that for our coding in Python. Let me see if there are any questions. Okay.
So you recommend PyCharm?
Right now, yes. I mean, you can use any other two. For our course, we are using PyCharm. Because let's say if you are using, most of the companies, they are using either PyCharm or Spider. So it's better that we go into one of these environments. The advantage of using this is that you can go to console mode also, and you can see the languages, basically the coding environment also. There are several packages which are also part of PyCharm, so it's really easy to import or install the package and start using it in Python and in PyCharm. So things become a bit easier when you are using other utilities in one of these environments. How do I close that? Okay. So to install PyCharm, actually, Khurram, you install in this machine, right? Can you go through the steps, how where you went and installed? The reason is that
you can just follow the steps.
Okay, because you can tell me how you.
Because we cannot really reinstall it.
Yeah, we are not reinstalling it. We are just going
just
through.
Show them the location from where they can download.
Okay.
And, Hopefully it should be straight.
Can you put the path?
Control, Command C.
Command C.
Command D.
Oh, okay.
Command C. No, this one. This one.
And D?
And C and D. Yes. And then B. Command.
Okay. Sorry guys, this is a different environment for me. So yeah, so if you go to the location which is in the presentation, right, you will see that we have Python at that, the PyCharm available at that link, depending on your operating system, it's Windows or Mac. Basically install a professional or community, the community edition, depending on your operating system. Once you download it, you can just run and follow the steps. And once you follow the steps, you'll be able to install PyCharm in your machine. So do you guys need some time to install it right now? Just let me know if you want to do it first before we go further.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, I think 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can wait 10 minutes. So we can take a quick break also. It's already 10. So we can reconvene at 10:10. So if you guys want to take a quick break, and the guys who are actually installing, I would recommend install it. So if you have any question, we can answer right away. And if you're not ready for reinstalling, that's fine. You can grab a cup of tea or something, and then we can reconvene in 10 minutes. So Eastern 10:10, we can restart.
Okay. And also, do you want us to install everything? Those text editors, PyCharm, and Anaconda, the environment?
Just PyCharm is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey guys, are you back? Hey, I think we have a couple of new folks also joined. So just welcome back everybody. I think when we left, we have about 22, now we have 26. So we have about a couple of more people joined. So hey, welcome everybody. We just initiated our first program. I just give a brief introduction about the program, its utility, how we're gonna work, and what's the target of it. And then Sana has just started showing you how to install it. So let him continue. Can somebody confirm me if you can able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. And okay, Sana, you can maximize
So
it.
guys, I hope that.
Minimize.
Can you turn it off?
Yeah, you can minimize it, and then when you share it,
No, like the video.
when you share it, then it will only show your desktop. It will not show you.
Alright.
You can close this. Come red. Now maximize.
Oh.
Okay, can you guys see the full screen for presentation?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, guys. So okay, so have you guys installed PyCharm?
Yeah,
Already?
did somebody actually install it while we said,
Yes.
who is that?
Yeah, I did. I installed it.
And what's your name?
Mahmood.
Hey, Mahmood. So is this the first time you're installing Python?
Yes.
And did you able to install the PyCharm as well?
Yes.
Okay. And any challenge that you had so you can share with other people?
No, not so far. I see there was in the second slide. If you go to the second slide,
Okay.
no, the second.
Yes, ma'am.
Next. Yep. So I didn't had to do this thing.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't have to select Python. It was already selected.
right. Mostly you do not have to.
Okay.
Sometime it happens. For example, if you install Python afterwards and you install PyCharm before, so most of the cases it will automatically detect it. So for most of the users, this is not applicable. But in case you don't see it, then you can just
Okay.
go to the exe location and save it. So I'll not go through this. I'll just directly go to the project and start a new project.
Right. Okay.
And thanks a lot for doing that, because that's the way we need to go, that everybody should participate and not just only listen only mode. So as we move forward, we will try to actually make you presenters and then ask you to do things. I mean, not right now, but maybe in third or fourth session when everybody's comfortable and we have a group who are kind of a finalist and they're just going through the course. So that's the way we need to go, and I really appreciate that you actually install while the program and continue. So thanks, Anna.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank
I
you.
have a question. I'm just wondering how long did it take? Because for my case, I'm trying to install, but it seems like taking a lot. We can continue. In the meanwhile, it's being downloaded. I already did Python, but PyCharm is taking a little bit
Where are you?
long.
What's your location?
Is it?
I'm in Plano.
So your network should be okay, right? I thought maybe you're in Pakistan or India, right? So so did you? So how long ago that you actually initiated the download?
No, PyCharm will take some time to install. Just give it some time, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 180 MB, I guess, the file. So
yeah, meanwhile for
I
the
think
course, in case you guys are not downloaded PyCharm yet, do one thing. Where's your exe file for?
You can go to full.
I also see one message in the chat saying it got stuck, but suddenly start working, something like that.
It should. It's a it shouldn't be.
Yeah, maybe it's just a bigger than I think Atul has mentioned. So Atul, do you want to mention, because he might have installed in different environments? So Atul, do you want to mention how long would normally takes, and if it is stuck, what does that mean?
Is it stuck on installation part, or is he having issues after installation?
No, it's still ongoing. I'm just wondering how long it's gonna take so that I can be with all you guys during the presentation.
Just give
But
2 or 3 minutes, it will automatically start again.
yeah, I think it's starting to pick up. So
Yeah, it will pick up.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
So what are you looking for?
No, I was saying that
Okay.
in case you are not able to install PyCharm yet, you can go, if you have already installed Python, right? You can go to python.exe file and you can launch that. So
go to applications.
in most of the Windows machine, it's in the username app data.
I already have that open. That is fine.
So you can open this Python basically. Oh, this is.
No, this is other one. This is, I think this is.
This is basically, oh, this is, so you can open this IDLE file, or you can go to your programs and you can install IDLE from there. Basically, this is Python environment where you can do a Python program too. In case if PyCharm is not installed yet, you can do something here.
Just as a backup for now.
Yeah, just as a backup for now.
So, my PyCharm just finished, and I'm on the main screen with the create new project.
Okay, yeah. So we are starting from here actually.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good job.
So let's start with creating a new project, right? So you'll have to go to this create new project. You can get any name to your project. So for example, I give it a name, first project, right?
Why don't you share your screen so that everybody will get to know that how you're working?
You are
No,
not.
it's showing
Here.
us the slides only.
Oh, okay.
Just show them the whole thing, how
Yeah,
you are.
let me see, because I think we have selected just the.
Oh, you selected the
So
project.
new share and then.
Just select this. Yeah, this should be fine.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're yeah, guys, let us know
Yeah,
if you can see
exactly.
PyCharm.
Yes.
So let me go back. So okay.
Yeah, please speak up if you feel like something, because I mean, we don't see the view that you guys are seeing. So if you don't see something, just let us know right away so we can.
Yeah, as what I'm told, right, that Zoom is the first time for us. We mostly have used either Skype Business or a GoToMeeting. So we are still exploring this one. So basically, yeah, this is your, once you open PyCharm, this is how it will look like. So you'll have to go to create new project and then give, you'll see untitled there. So give any name to your project. So for example, if I name it as first project, I'll select create. And it opened a separate window for me. Now, I think you guys are not seeing this new window, so let me share this again. Khurram, can you reshare that window?
Yeah, just go to share.
Hello?
Yeah, just a second. Where is that? Yeah, go to. Yeah. This one.
Google Chrome?
Yeah. Maybe it might be here. All right. Yeah.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So once you create the project, right, you will see this first project created here on your dock window on the left side. So this is your project. In that you can add several files, your modules, right? So in your project, so let's do the first Python module in this one. You do a right click on that and select new. And in new, select a Python file. So right click on first project, new, select a Python file in there and give any name. So I just give it main.py. So what it will do is that in that project, it will create a Python file main.py for me. And once it's done, you will see a file here. Right? So once you did that, now let's quickly do a small program, which is a program for any language, which the first thing which you do is that you just do print hello world. So let's just do that. And once you do that, to run the code, what you have to do is that go to run, click on run. It will ask you which module you want to run, click on main. As you run main, you will see a screen at the bottom. If you see this result window, run, you will see that hello world printed down here. Now, whenever you are doing the programming, right, the very good practice is that whatever you write, you add comments for that. Comments become really important when somebody else looks at your code, or in future, if you come back and you want to see basically that what you did last time, because you may have coded something, or you have, for example, created a method or a function, let's say 2 or 3 years back, and let's say that you want to utilize it again and you want to see what is it in it. So basically, once you go there and you have comments, it will make it really easy for you to understand what you wrote before. So let's say you can say that this is my first line of code in Python. And any comment which you want, right, you start with hash. Like, and so let me execute the program again, run main, and it will still print the same thing. It will not see because this is a comment. So for example, you are doing some mathematical formula, or you have made some logic, you can add basically comments before that, and you can tell that, okay, this is what I'm doing in that whole thing. So you can comment like this, or you can just continue commenting on several lines and basically just start doing the hashtagging of that one. So any question on this? Same way you can.
I have a question. So
yeah.
how did you do this thing, main.py?
Oh,
what did you select?
Okay. So go to your project, whatever you created, the name of a project, right click on that, go to new.
New, okay.
And select a Python file. So see, always make sure that you select a Python file down here.
Okay, all right, got it.
Okay. And then you can give any name to the Python file. Okay. And the same way you can write several lines of code here, whatever you want. Now, one thing which you can do in Python is that you can either use a single colon or a single basically in commas, or you can use a double comma. And so you can just use that, and the same code will work for you with inverted commas also. So if I write like this and run again, sorry, what did I do? Oh, sorry. If you run the same code again, basically you will see both. So you can use both of these. The second one becomes really important. For example, if I want to write and something like this, that for example, if I do something like this, I don't know Python, right? So what is happening here is that you see that I started a single comma here, and then when I put something like this in between, it thinks that I have basically finished my line here. So with this, you can all make a practice that you use if double commas here. Once you use that one, it will know that now your program started with inverted commas and ends with that. So now it understands this is a whole one line. If I don't do this, what will happen is that, let me show you, it should show you throw an error on you. So if I use single, and you run the program again, you will see an error on that. But if I change it to the other one, in this case,
You still have single comma in front.
oh yeah, sorry, I missed it. So you will see that this one now work, right? So this is basically your base program. Now, at the start of the training, what we'll do is that we will not code here because we want to see simple basically commands of Python. So instead of doing a code here and then running, the main problem of writing a code here once you are learning is that for anything to see as a result, you have to print it. For example, if I'm doing a simple maths operation, right, I'm adding two numbers. To show the result, I will have to do a print statement on that, and only then I see it. So that's why instead of, in the initial phase, once you are seeing the small commands, we will instead use Python console, which is down here, if you see. In even Windows machine, you will see the same. And later, once you know all those and you are compiling small programs, at that point, we will just switch back to our main environment, and then we'll start coding here. So for now, let's move to Python console, which is down here. And if you click on Python console, you will see that this console will open up for you, right? So what you can do is that you can write the same thing here, and it will show you the result in the next line. For example, I can just write hello world here, and it will show me hello world in the next line, the result of that. So I do not have to print it like that. In the same way, if I want to do something else, for example, if I want to do 2 plus 3, I'll just do 2 plus 3. Instead of doing a print command on that, I will just do 2 plus 3, and it will show me the result of that. So it's simple maths. Let's start with that. You can do anything like 2 plus 3 or 3 minus 2. It's subtraction. You can subtract. You can multiply. So you use the same symbols in which you use in most of the languages and tools like Excel or any other thing for addition, multiplication, subtraction. You'll use the same. For example, 3 multiplied by 2 will be 6. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. So like that. So in that way, you know exactly how the mathematical operator works in that. For example, let me show you a thing like 9 divided by 2. The result will be 4.5. There's another operator in Python where you can do 9, and you can do 2 signs of divide, and then you can do 2, and it will give you 4. So this is basically, let's see, if you don't want the result as a decimal point number, but you want just a result as a flooring on the lower side, instead of 4.5, you just do a double flash and you will see 4. In the same way, if you want to see what should be the remainder of 9 and 2, you can do 9 modulo 2. And it will show the remainder is 1. Yes, somebody asked that Python console is in PyCharm. Yes, it's at the bottom. If you can see, you will see it at the bottom. It's same location for both Windows and Mac because I use Windows. I know that it's exactly here for Windows machine also.
Just to add, you may not be able to see directly, but you may have to click one of the buttons down there, and there is a list there, and from there you can select, yeah, here.
Okay. Nobody has issues with that, right? Just confirming. You guys?
Yeah, we are good.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay. So basically, yeah, these are some of the basic operations which you do in the same way. And I'm not defining variables yet. I'm just showing you different operations, simple operations, maths operations. Once you see that, after this, we will just go through quickly how to define variables and how can we do the same tasks with defining the variables. So another thing which you do most of the time is that you use basically power, right? So what you can do is that 2 to the power 3, it will show you 8. So 2 to the 4, 4 2s are 8. And for same way, you can do a square root also, which is square root of 4 is 2. So these are some of the basic operations, math operation, which you use all the time. Any code you will write, any operation, any mathematical operation you want to do, you may have to use one of these. Now let's move on to define a variable. So if you guys have coded before in any other language like C, C++, Java, Fortran, right? I'm just not Python, but you mostly have to define a code like integer a is equal to something, or float, which is the decimal number, float something, or you have to define a variable as a string a, something like this. So every time you do a code, you have to define the variable type. The good thing about Python is that you do not have to define the type of a variable. It's dynamic. So whenever you define a variable by looking at the value, it automatically figures out that what it is. So for example, if I assign a value of 5, it will take it. And now if you want to see that what a actually is and how it's storing the value, you can do type, and then you can write a in that. And what it will do is that it will show you that it's class int, which is int integer. Now I can do the reassignment to a, and let's say I reassign a value 5.5. And once I do that, and you see, you check the type again, you will see now the type changes to float. So the types are dynamic and they change as you basically change the value. Depending on the value of a variable, it dynamically basically assigns the type to that variable. Now, it's good and bad too. Bad in the sense that sometimes what may happen in your code that by mistake, you can use a variable in a way you do not want to use it. For example, you have defined something totally different and you are using it in a totally different way. And it may not give you the error. So you'll have a logical error actually, but you'll not know exactly that what happened. Somebody asked me that you're getting an error, a is not defined. Did you write any integer type before that? Because you don't have to write anything. You just write a is equal to a value. Okay. Were you able to write the print program, which was hello world? This is weird because it should not give you an error. Atul, do you know of this error, name error?
Yeah, I think he has not defined A. As you have defined A is equal to 5. Did you define the A? Yeah, he need to define A. That's why he is getting name error.
Okay, okay. So you just wrote like, oh, okay, okay. So you did something like this, B, something like this.
Yeah, exactly. He did
Yeah,
not define A.
you cannot. So you have to define a value to a variable. If you don't define a value to a variable, it will not work. If you do not want to define a value to a variable, what you can do is that you can do it as a none. So for example, if you want to, at the start of a program, you want to just uh, define a variable, but you don't want to assign any value to it, you can do none to that. For example, let's say you select several variables which you're going to use in the program, but you don't want to give any value yet, you can just do none to that, and it will be none in case, but you cannot just leave it like that.
Also, some guys are having problem with Python console. They are not able to see. So just tell them that there is a icon bottom right corner in from which they can get the console. Right, exactly.
This icon.
So they are complaining that they are not able to see Python console window.
Yeah.
So just
actually, so can you tell Atul, in the Windows environment, this is a thing, right?
Yeah, because, exactly. It's the same.
It appears automatically, so I did not have to do that. But in Windows, if you don't see it, you just click on this icon at the bottom. You will see in your Windows machine, and you should be able to see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Just ask Sami. Okay. Okay. He got it now. Okay.
Okay. So now, if you do a type of B, if you do a type of B in this case, it will say that none type because no type is defined to be. So if you create a variable, you have to initiate it with some value. If you don't have a value, you have to initiate with none, but you cannot just leave it without any value. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed further now. Let's say we want to do some
Almas is having error. I think he's having error with interpreter. He's not working. So can you please ask him what's the problem is? I'm not getting his problem.
Can you tell what's your problem? Almas?
Okay.
Yeah, hi guys. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving me some debug. Just give me a second. It's something run window. It's saying edit configurations. Now it's not moving further. Like I'm not quite sure whether it's a debug issue or like what.
Install Python before installing PyCharm?
Yeah, I've installed Python before installing PyCharm.
And
first I installed Python and then PyCharm.
Okay. And when you created your program, did you create with the file, with the Python file like this one?
Yes.
Can you ask her to
I cannot share the screen because the sharing is currently going on, so it doesn't give me an authority to share my screen.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
Yeah, we can. I think we can. So what's her name?
Almas. Yeah.
So
Atul, I have shared you a Word doc, like what exactly the error
is. It is having problem with your Python only. I'll have to check it.
I just make you a host, so you can share your screen, but don't forget to give the host.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can share your screen now.
Just give me a second. I'm just trying to figure it out how Zoom.
Yeah, it's actually, it says like a share arrow somewhere, and then it will ask you to share. It will show you your screen, or if you have multiple that you can share, so you can choose the one that you want to share.
Okay.
Yeah, it will give opportunity for others to also look if there's.
Yeah, that would be nice to see what are the error messages.
No, it's still giving me an error. You cannot start screen share while other participant is shared.
Okay, yeah, let us stop sharing. Let's stop sharing. Yeah, now you should be able to share.
fine.
I think it's coming up.
You guys able to?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So I go to run. I do this run, and this is the thing.
Okay, click on edit configuration. Okay, go to plus.
Which this one?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Which, okay. Go to Python. Okay, now just click run.
Mm,
Okay, now click run. Run, okay. A name, just click on that. Okay, can you give the access to me?
Yeah, sure. Like, remote control.
Yeah,
Yep, remote control, yes.
Two.
As Atul, ATUL. You got the control, Atul?
yes, yes. Okay, it's working.
So I guess here the path was unnamed. That's the
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, exactly. So you have to click on run.
Okay.
And when you click on run, you have to select which part you want to run. So it's hello world, which
So
was not
every time I
described.
need to follow
No,
this.
no, no, no. It was some kind of error. It should be chosen automatically. Let's just try again. Like, wait a second. File, close
Or
project.
well, at the time of installation, I have missed any step or
No, no, no.
process.
Just let me just let me check.
Yeah.
Create a new project.
Yeah, this is Naila. I was also experiencing the same thing. It wasn't running automatically for me.
Okay, just let me check.
Actually, this takes a lot of time for me, like creating virtual environment.
How much RAM do you have in your laptop?
Not quite. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry.
For the very first time, if Python is not defined by default, then it has to be created, and it takes like 2 to 3 minutes to run that thing.
So that's what the thing is. Like I have created or I have given the base location as D location, not C, because in C I don't have that much of memory. So that's the reason I did it in.
No, no, it
Not
is okay. It should detect automatically.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, it will work now.
okay. But But I'm still skeptical. Again, I have to do that run configuration thing again and again.
No, you don't have to do that again. You just need to click run and it will run.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one time
just
technique, what Atul showed you.
Because in PyCharm you can have like multiple py files, right?
Okay.
So it will ask you which py files you want to run.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
if you will click on run hello, it will run the hello.py. Okay. But if you will click on run, it will ask you that which py file do you want to run. You have like only one py file here, hello, but you can have like multiple py files, right? So
Okay.
it will ask you that which py file you want to run.
Okay, fine.
That is totally okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I'm also having issues with the PyCharm. So when I install it, it's giving me this message with interpreter environment, and it's giving me permission denied. Is it something anybody else seeing?
I'm not quite sure. Can you just send me a screenshot or something? Almas, can you just give the host back to
sure.
sir?
Maybe ask him. Maybe should ask Wakar to share it.
Yeah, Wakar, if you want to give.
Yeah, I you guys can continue, but quickly want to understand, do we need to define any Python interpreter?
Actually, yes. If it's not getting automatically, then you have to define the Python installation location, I think.
So,
yeah, and that has to be Python. So when I go and define Python, it's giving me permission denied.
Can you just show me a screenshot or something?
Yeah, just a second. We can share Wakar's screen.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Hold on. Maybe you're not. Yeah, I don't know why we don't have an option to share for you.
Okay. That's okay. You guys can continue because I can use Python console directly.
I think, did you tell the whole path where you install python.exe there?
Not sure because I already had Python installed. I just had to install the PyCharm.
Okay, so let me show you one view if in case that will work for you. So you go to in PyCharm, you go to basically file setting and basically configure, right? In configure, on the left side, select interpreter. So it will show you the interpreter window, right? And from there, you have to select the path where your Python exe file is saved. Now, if you're on a Windows machine, in most of the cases, it is in your username. And so it's mostly this location if I have that.
Yeah, so I'm already done. I have done it. It's C, Python 27 and python.exe. Once I select it, it says permission denied. So
okay, so which can you please open your command promote?
Yeah, can you open your command from there? From Python exe, if you just double click.
Yeah.
What machine you're using? Is it Windows or Mac?
This is Windows 10.
Okay, then just open CMD. Okay, just type Python.
Yeah.
Is it recognition? It's showing you something like
not actually, it's giving me error.
Okay, just then like now type py.
Yeah, it's still giving error.
What kind of error it's showing you?
Py is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Okay, so you need to install Python 3. Okay, you need to install Python 3 again.
Oh.
It's not detecting, so you need to install the Python.
So I have 2.7. Maybe that's the older version.
Yeah, exactly. You need to install Python 3 because we are going to work on Python 3 only.
I see. Okay, thank you.
It's an older version of Python, and we will be actually using some commands here which are not even compatible with the with 2.7. So it's better, yeah, you install the latest version, which is 3.6.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Sana.
Yeah, sure. Can I share that? Or
Can you share your screen now?
yeah.
So yeah, you can go ahead. And, share.
Okay.
Share. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you see.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's quickly go further and let's define variable values. So A and B, and as I told you, right, that these are dynamic. You can define any values to them. Now, one thing, again, a good programming practice for Python is that whenever you define a variable, right, define it in lower cases, like A, B, or for example, my name. If you want to define my name, you cannot do like this my space name because Python does not recognize name. So a good practice would be that if you want to define my name, you just do my underscore name, and then you define a variable like this. Also, don't try to use any variable types in your name. It's not, again, a good practice like int or list or str, something like that. Just try to do generic names which makes sense for the variable you are using, and it will give you some idea that what actually that variable is. Since right now we are just doing practice, we are just using A and B, but in most of the cases, it's better to use a specific variable which gives you some idea about that variable, what it is. Also, you cannot use any other special characters, so avoid using special characters in giving any name to your variable, right? So now you can do the same math operation what we did before on your variables also, like A plus B, and I will not go in further details at what these are, but you can do all these different operations on the variables also. Also, what you can do is that, for example, let me give a small example that if you want to calculate the total cost of something, let's say if I say unit cost of something is let's say $10, and you want to say tax rate, for example, for that is 0.7%, and now you want to see that basically what is your final cost. So you can say final cost, something like this, that you have to make sense out of your code. You can just do 10 multiply by 0.7. Plus 10. And now if you want to see what's your final cost, you can just write final cost, and it will show you the value. Actually, let me change it to 0.07% tax rate. And then if you want to see your final cost, sorry, you can do something like this, where you can basically use the numbers, or what you can do is that in your final cost, so let me show you what the result is again. So the value is 10.7, or you can do is that you can just do it with the help of the variables which you define. So you can say that final cost is equal to unit cost into tax rate plus unit cost. And when you see final cost, again, the value is 10.7. So that's how basically you can just define simple variables and use them. Again, Python basically uses the regular maths operations where you know that multiplication has priority over your plus. So it's simple rules, your brackets, then exponential, then your multiplication, division, then subtraction, addition. So If you don't use any bracket, you know that multiplication will happen first, and then after that, addition or subtraction will happen. Or if you want to be really clear about your code, what it is doing, and you don't want to make any mistake in there, always make a habit of using brackets. So even though in this case, these brackets would not make any difference, but it will make it easier for others to read and understand what this does. Now, let's say if you just want to mess it up and do something totally different, what you can do is that you can do brackets here. And what will happen is that it will change your results totally, because bracket has the priority. So you will see a totally different result. Okay. Let me see if there are any questions. You guys are following, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are basic math rules. Now, so these are variables which are basically floats or integers. And by integer, I mean anything which does not have any decimal point. So in Python, you can have an integer, you can have a long integer. And in the same way, if anything comes with basically after decimal, that will become a floating number. So sometimes what happens is that you define something as a variable, but as an integer, but later if you do some thing on that or some analysis on that, that may change into a decimal number. For example, if you define a is equal to 5, and then what you can do is that a is equal to a plus 0.5. So the value of a becomes 5.5. So initially, if you see here, the type of a was integer. But when you do some operation on a, the value of a changes to 5.5. So this is a way which you can use, that you can use the same variable to change its value by defining the same variable on the right side also, and you can use this without any issue in Python. This is true for any other programming language also, like C, C++. You can do this kind of an operation where you can do variable on the left side, and then you can do the same variable on the right side, and then you can do some operation on that. What will happen is that on the right side, it will pick the older value, do the operation, and then assign the new value to a. Or you can do the same thing on a. It's like this: a plus is equal to 0.5. So what this will do, it will do again addition of 0.5 to a, and the value will become 6 now. So basically, this is the same thing. Short form of writing this is that you can write like this: a plus is equal to 0.5, or whatever you want to do. Same operation you can use for subtraction. Same operation you can use for multiplication, division. So let's see, a minus is equal to 3. So the value of a will become 3. So you can do these kinds of operation on any variable also. Any question? Okay. So this is very basic information about numeric values. Now next, what we will see is that, okay.
Ask him if he can do that.
Atul, do you want to do a string, or you want me to continue? Atul?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a string, or you want me to continue with that?
Yeah, of course. I can go on.
Okay, so let me have you share your screen, okay?
Hey Atul, and I would like you to so guys, Atul is a very young guy. I think he's in 3rd or 4th year, and he's doing some amazing stuff. He can explain himself what he's doing, but I found him through LinkedIn. He's a very passionate young guy, And as I said, I really want to work and learn from people who are actually have more insights, and they are actually more advanced than some of us who are actually older in age. But it's always good to learn from people who ever have the knowledge and they are ready to share. So Atul, it's all yours. Just give a quick brief introduction about yourself also, and then you can continue.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Can you able to share your screen?
Yeah, just a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, hello guys. How are you all?
Very well, thank you.
Okay,
Good.
so my name is Atul, and currently I'm aspiring data scientist. I'm working on data sets, and I'm currently working for a few companies to analyze their data. I am have experience in Python from last 3 or 4 years. I've been dealing with machine learning projects, Bitcoin projects, and cryptocurrency projects in my academic projects, as well as some companies projects. So I will be teaching you more like Python advanced and basic machine learning algorithms like AI, KNN, linear regression, and more of that in our future sessions. So as we discussed, you already know few of Python's projects, programs like how to print something, how to do arithmetic operation. So that was so you do you guys have any problem till now, like running any code as explained by our senior colleague? Do you have any problem with the previous course that has been executed?
So far, so good.
Okay, great. So we had like arithmetics example till now, print functions, and you all have installed PyCharm, so that's a very good beginning. So I will teach you some basic stuffs like how to define functions and how to work with strings and string manipulation, and okay. So okay, so I will just teach you with basic function definition, how to define functions, because functions are really important in Python. In projects, like you have to define functions, basic functions. So let's just define a function to print something. So to define a function, we need to use the keyword def. So def is basically used to define any function, and you can write any name for your function, like you can give it like print. Okay, and print, you can give it like value, anything value that will give, and in the value you can like have print value, something like this. So what this function do is like def is basically a keyword, Python predefined keywords which define your function, and it will be like any function name that you will have, like just a minute, print is already a predefined function, so I cannot use that. So like just make take like my print. So like you can have your definition functions like any name that have any keywords of your function name, and after that you will have like you can have any arguments inside your definition function, like a is equal to 10 plus 20. So what basically a definition function does is like you define a function using def keyword, you add some arguments inside your function, like it can be anything, any arithmetic operation, print options, anything, and you call your function using the function that you name. Like my name was like my function name was my prints, so I will call my prints function, and and inside my prints function we have like arguments. It can be multiple arguments. So what argument basically does is that it will ask you for the keywords that you need to input as a value. Like I can have different arguments inside my function, like value, id, IDs, or like a name. So your functions can have different arguments. So first we will start with simple value, one single value argument. Okay, so just a second. Just a second. I think my PyCharm is hanging. Okay, it's not a good sign. Okay, so okay, so like just add it like something like hello, we can like this, something like this also. So okay, so what as you can see that we have got the output of one string hello and the second is 30. So let me explain you how it works. So as I define my function name as my prints, okay, and I take one single argument which I gave the name value. You can give this any name. It's not need to be a value. You can name this like anything, blah blah blah, anything. So I gave this name as a value, okay, and the next input I took was print, and inside print I took the value. So whatever I will input in this value will get print inside this. So I use my prints function, and as an argument of value, I use the string hello. So what it does, like print takes the value from my prints the function, and it prints the string which was called using my defined function my prints. Okay, so user defined functions are used when you have like repetition of codes, like you want to execute same commands like more than one time. So you don't need to like execute same command one and another time, like repeat it. So you just define a function with like different arguments, different commands, and you just call your function one time and it will execute all of these three values. Like first value was print value, so I took hello as a string inside the value, so it print hello. Next I took a variable a is equal to 10 plus 20, and then I called the argument print a. So when I called my function my prints, it execute all of these three commands at once and gave me the output of hello, and the next was 3. Okay, so now just change this like two variables. We can have like two variables like a and b. Okay, and now just do something more interesting. So I will do result is equal to a plus b. Okay, and now I will print result. So now inside my print I will take 20 and 30. So can you please tell me, can you please guess that what will be the output? Anybody? Anyone? Please, can you please tell me that what will be the output? 50. Yeah, exactly. So what this function is doing, we are taking two arguments, a as 20, b as 30, and we are assigning these two values in result and doing an arithmetic operation a plus b. After that, we are calling the result function as a print command, and when we will execute this, so yes, it is giving me 50 as an output. So now instead of using one argument, I am using two arguments, a and v, two variables, and I am separating those two arguments using commas. So you will use commas in your function to define your different arguments. So what it basically does, instead of word arguments, I'm taking two arguments and I am doing an arithmetic operation on this and this, the both one and second argument, and printing the result as a single print result. So do you now have all of you know that how functions works and how you can define your own functions, right? Do you have any queries regarding this function command that I recently used?
No.
So everyone is cool? You all get to
Yes.
know it, how? Okay, great. So this is how the functions work. Okay, so just let me clear this up. I don't know why my PyCharm is hanging. So like user defined functions are really important part in Python, because there will be like different and like thousands of execution command that you will have to execute like multiple times, and it will be easy for you to name some functions by a user defined name, that any name you can take. It will help you to remind your functions and to call them multiple times. So user defined function is really important for Python programs. Okay, so just let me check what I'm gonna show you in another example. Just a minute. Okay, so let me show you something. Okay, okay, so here's another example of using print function. So in this print function, we are defining, there is a variable here. Let me just make a comment. Result as a variable. Okay, so in print function, you can actually call some arguments or variables inside the print function. So what it basically does, like you are doing a print command and you are giving some string like the result of the given input is, and then you just close the print command, and then inside the print command you then use comma, and then you give the variable name. So what it basically does, that it will execute this string, and after executing this string it will search for this particular variable result. So here is the variable result. Okay, so after executing this string, it will execute the result string. So you don't need to add the variable of, you don't need to like, you don't need to specify like the result of given it was 50. So it will vary in different results. So all you need to do is close the string, you need to close the print string, and then you need to separate by a comma, and then you need to add the variable. So now just let me run this. Okay, so now as you can see that the print function is printing the result of the given input is, it's printing this particular thing, and after printing this, it is searching for this variable. After comma, I have given a variable result. So it is searching for this variable, and this variable is right here as a result. I have defined result is equal to a plus b. So it executes the 50 from this variable. Okay. So now we are defining a and b. What if we want to take input from users, right? So to do that, we can just like, uh, I'm just gonna give another example, which is really cool. So like a is equal to input. Okay, this is not good. A is equal to input. Please enter the value of a. Okay, b is equal to input. Please enter the value of b. Result is equal to a plus b. Different
Yeah, Atul, you have about 5 more minutes, and then we have to have our guest speaker. So yeah, just continue.
Okay, yeah. Just this is the last example. Okay.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay. So now so as you can see that I have not given the input. Okay. I will ask the input from the user itself. Okay. So let me just run this. Okay. I will just run this. So as you can see that it is asking me to enter the value of A. So I will just add 40. It will ask me to enter the value of V. I will just add another 40 and the okay, so it is giving me 40 because it is taking these two values as a string. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that, so okay, never mind. So the input function, this input function is used to take the input from user itself. It works as a print function, but instead of printing something, it will ask for the user input. Okay, it will ask the user input to give some command. So if you want something to be taken from user itself without defining, like we can just define A is equal to 50, right? But what if we want some, we don't need to define this. We want this to be defined by user itself. We want the end user to have their input of their own choice. So in those situation, we use the input command instead of print command. So input, what basically input does, it asks the user to give the input, and after the user have given, like user have given something like 40 or 40, okay. So when the user has given 40, this 40 value will be added to 80 a variable. And let's see that if B user have given 50 for B input, so that 50 will be added to B variable, and those input will be saved to result, and it will get printed. Okay, so these are some really basic examples. I will explain you more about it later on. Yeah, exactly. So the result is getting 40 because it is taking 40 and 40 both as a string value. So it is returning as double 40. So what we basically need to do is that we need to change this to integer value so that it will be 80. So like if I will change this to int a, int b, and now 40 and 40. Okay, so I will just explain you more about int and a string and later exercises. So okay sir, I'm done.
Thank you. Can you transfer me back?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Okay, guys. So can you see me?
Yes.
So guys, obviously this is the first session, so I don't want to really overwhelm you guys right off the bat. So what we will be doing is, again, you guys will go ahead and you have a week that you can go back and practice. And again, as I mentioned, we have a LinkedIn group. We can also form other groups for more discussions. But at least right now you have a LinkedIn group where you can post your questions, and Atul will be joining, Sana will be joining, and we will have more guys joining who has experience in Python. So again, if you know somebody who is good in Python, working in industry, and want to join our program as a mentor, I would appreciate it. Just send me an email. It's an open forum, so anybody is welcome. Even they can have 1 or 2 sessions, that's fine, because everybody has something different to bring in. And it's good to have a mix of different experiences. So again, I would request everybody, if they know somebody who has good experience in Python and they want to share some time with us, I welcome, and we can just have 1 or 2 topics that they want to deliver. Again, I would like to thank you, Sana and Atul, both for today's session, and hope you guys will basically go back and try everything. next, I have something very interesting for you guys, which is I've been planning for a while. So today I have Dr. Hasnan Rizvi joining us. He's local in US, but he's traveling overseas for providing some training. So he's working in the industry for about, I believe, 20 plus years. He's a PhD, and he has, I don't know, a really long list of certifications. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing coach. And I've learned a lot from him back in the days when I first started my PMP journey. That's when I met him, and we become really good friends. And I'm very fortunate that he able to spend some time with us, although he's traveling very busy. So let me just quickly give, yes, we can see you, Hasnan. We can see your screen.
Very good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, excellent.
All
Very
yours.
good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Khurram. So yeah, I have 20 years experience, but I'm only 18 years old. All right, very good. Excellent.
Even better.
All right, very good. So Khurram has kindly asked me to talk about Agile today, and Agile from a project management perspective, and that's what I'm going to walk you through. If you have any questions, please feel free to step in along the way. It'll be a casual conversation. I'll try and keep an eye out on the chat box. If I miss anything, I'll request the rest of you to just remind me to keep an eye on that. So anyway, real quick, before I get into that, just a quick round of intros just to give you a sense of where Agile is being used in the world and how long it's being used for. It's not really necessarily a completely new concept. It's just gotten into fashion now. You know, this is a picture of me when I was living in Canada around 2008, 2009, and I did some Agile projects. I set up an Agile PMO all the way out in Newfoundland, Canada, and then I went to Saskatchewan, equally cold, maybe even colder, and we did some Agile projects there, but I've been living in California for the last 18 odd years, and Agile has been going on in, you know, the Silicon Valley area for goodness knows how long. Officially, formally, the term got coined in the 90s. It's picking up a lot in Europe right now. There are all kinds of certifications coming out, all kinds of best practices coming out in this area. That's again, Western Canada as well. British Columbia, University of British Columbia right now is launching Agile initiatives. Agile has actually even picked up right now. Recently, I've been doing some work in the Arab Gulf region. And so in places like Saudi Arabia and stuff where you would think that they may be a little behind, actually they're doing a lot of Agile initiatives. And so I'm doing some work with some clients in this area. And Agile is even taking on shape in areas that are like typically were not seen to apply Agile principles, such as disaster recovery. So this is a picture of Houston, bottom left-hand corner. As some of you will recall, Houston got hit with Hurricane Harvey a few months ago, and they're now using some Agile techniques to come up with how to better manage disasters. But again, behind all of this, frankly speaking, is software, or has been software. Again, just a quick intro myself. These are some of the books I've written in this space, so enough of that. But as I was saying, Agile really, while it's being picked up by other arenas, it's really its foundation and its mantra has been in the software space. That's where it really originated from. That's where its strength is. It is being used in other places, but it's a natural fit for the software arena. Not all software development, but in many instances, it's a good fit for IT-centric organizations or IT-enabling organizations. So there are a number of governing bodies of project management that are adopting Agile. So PMI, for example, has launched an Agile certification. Their new PMBOK guide, which came up in the market just a few months ago, has got an Agile extension. Excelis, which is out of the UK, that runs the Prince 2 type of certifications, has a lot of Agile certifications, Agile project management, Agile program management. Microsoft, you name it, you know, there are a number of bodies out there that are doing Agile. Scrum Alliance, and now there's large scale Scrum being done, like scaled Agile, large scale Scrum, you know, scaled at Scrum. These are bodies that are talking about doing agile for very large entities, very large teams, teams of 300, 400. Credit Suisse, for example, has 400, 500 skilled, associates who are working in a large scale environment. Dubai Customs in UAE, for example, is running in a large scale environment as well. So there are a lot of best practices and disciplines coming out of this particular arena at the moment. And if you're working in anything to do with technology, you really need to know a little bit about Agile and specifically Scrum. Scrum being the more popular of all the Agile methodologies out there. So what is Agile? And where does it come from and what are its roots? Well, it all started out with, formally it all started out with a paper written by two Japanese students in the late 1980s, where they came up with this idea of, they tried to compare rugby and rugby's approach in contrast to American football. And specifically what they addressed was the idea that in rugby, there isn't one centralized manager per se. Whereas in American football, there's a coach who guides and mentors and is constantly directing the team. So the quarterback, is wearing his little headset, listening to direction from the coach, who's the one manager figuring everything out. Instead of that, in rugby, there's this philosophy where it's more decentralized, and every player steps up to the plate to come up with decisions and work collaboratively. And what they basically their thought process in their paper suggested that in a world of uncertainty, where we are now living in more uncertain times, and our projects are going through more uncertainty, an agile approach seems to make more sense, as opposed to the traditional world where we would come up with a defined plan right up front. So we'd come up with a plan, we'd follow a software development life cycle right up front that was very structured, what typically is called waterfall. That doesn't make sense in many instances where you want to really deliver value. The challenge with the traditional waterfall approach is that you come up with a plan, let's say today, and you deliver a product 8, 9, 10 months down the road. Well, in 8 to 9, 10 months, as you know, in the software world, I mean, we're talking about, that's years, in many other industries. So, a year ago, where was Snapchat and where was, I don't know, Spotify and companies like that? In a year, lots of things have changed, and competition is rapidly, evolving out there. So you really need to be a lot more nimble and agile to deal with a lot of these uncertainties that are evolving and changing as you're building your product along the way, or your solution. So agile is a solution to that in the larger scheme of things. And again, as I said, there are a whole bunch of bodies out there that are ready to facilitate and teach and train you in this particular space. All kinds of bodies are happy to certify you. But from a practical perspective, it genuinely is a very useful approach. Okay, so what PMI, the Project Management Institute, has done is that they have broken out the Agile teachings into 7 domains. I'm going to walk you through these 7 domains today, and also give you a little bit of an introduction to Scrum, which is the most popular Agile methodology, I'd say globally, frankly speaking, or some version of Scrum is being used in most instances out there in the marketplace. So the first domain is something that is called Agile Principles and Mindset. Okay, and here essentially the Project Management Institute walks you through and explains that Agile is not a methodology, but rather Agile is a family of methodologies. So there are a whole number of methodologies out there that fall under the Agile framework. Scrum is the most popular one, but there are many others, such as extreme programming, which for short is typically called XP. Lean software development is another methodology. There's DSDM out of the UK, SAFe, LESS, I mean, the list just goes on. FDD, Crystal, there are a whole bunch of methodologies out there. And, one of you, one of myself, we could create our own methodology as well that would as long as it would abide by some core agile principles, it would fall under the agile methodology. Now let's real quick, before I proceed forward, let's quickly get a quick overview of what Scrum looks like. So let me see. I believe I can annotate here and draw, right? So right here, what you're seeing is something called a product backlog, okay? This is a prioritized list of functional requirements. That's the best way to explain it. It's a prioritized list of functional requirements. So this top block, which is called a backlog item, product backlog item, PBI for short, is the highest priority items, list of items that we need to work on. So it's a chunk of work. That product backlog item, PBI, is a chunk of work, what it typically, traditionally in project management is called a work package. And it has been prioritized with a business mindset. So that first chunk of work, that first backlog item, is the most valuable work that would be delivered on this project, the most valuable features and functionality. And as we would work down the list, the remaining items would be important and valuable, but less valuable than the higher product backlog items. All right. Now, what would happen is we take this first product backlog item and we would split it down further or decompose it. Decomposition is the term that's traditionally used to talk about breaking things down in project management. And we'd break it down into a sprint backlog. So we'd run a sprint. Again, the word sprint indicates that it would be short and sweet, right? Sprints are not very long. They're not marathons. And this, again, would be a prioritized, ideally, list again, right? I'm trying to type in 1, 2, 3 here, but that's not looking very good, so I'm going to stop. Where again, the first slice is the most important, and the second slice is subsequently, secondarily most important, and then so on and so forth. So basically, this list gets like double prioritized. It gets prioritized here at the PBI, product backlog item level, and then it gets reprioritized here. Now, every sprint typically runs anywhere from, organizations will run it, a really smooth organization will run it as short as 1 week, all the way up to somewhere in the range of as late as, maybe 8 weeks or so. So every 8 weeks, what's happening, like in this picture, it says 30 days, which is fine, but every 1 to 8 weeks approximately on the extreme side, we would be delivering some minimum shippable product. So some working increment. So the idea behind Scrum is that every month or every couple of months, we're actually getting working increment, working valuable software in the hands of the end users, potentially. Okay. And the beauty of this is that we're now getting early feedback, because every time we deliver something, we get feedback. And instead of developing the entire product and then getting feedback where we would be required to make all kinds of expensive changes, we're much more nimble and agile here by actually looping back every few weeks and coming back and reprioritizing things. And every day we're also doing a quick little stand-up. So it's called the daily Scrum or the daily stand-up, depending on the methodology used, where we're doing a quick touch base every single day, typically in the morning before we start our day. We answer 3 questions. A, what did we do yesterday? B, what are we intending to do today? And C, what obstacles are we encountering? It's a quick touch point in which we get a sense for, how things are going. It improves team camaraderie, reduces conflict, helps manage risks more effectively, improves communication, gets rid of, team stresses that may arise amongst associates and so on and so forth. The daily stand-up or the daily Scrum is seen as extremely valuable, and it has tremendous practical value out there from a realistic perspective. So that's the Scrum philosophy. And you basically, what you do is you continue to deliver in sprints. Along the way, you are potentially reprioritizing things. Potentially, items are being added or removed from the list as we're progressing along the project. Again, the idea here is to get working product into the hands of the end user community as soon as possible so we can get early feedback so we can develop a more valuable product. The whole idea behind Agile, and in Scrum for sure specifically, is that we're not necessarily looking to deliver 100%. We're looking to deliver value. So theoretically, just because a customer asks for 20 features doesn't mean we're going to deliver all 20. Out of the 20 that the customer asks for, we may deliver 18 or 17, but they'd be the juicy, valuable items, the juicy, valuable 20 items, 17 features or feature groups that would make it exciting for the consumer, the end user, the customer, the product owner, the product manager. You know, the Scrum has this role of product owner who represents the customer and is the voice of the customer, and so on and so forth. There's also a role here known as Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is a facilitator, not a project manager, but rather a facilitator who is facilitating this entire process here, right? From the larger scheme of things. And there are, again, of course, peripheral roles that are to be filled along the way. Now, the other extremely popular methodology is XP. And in many organizations, actually, XP and Scrum are combined and best practices from both are leveraged together. Kanban practices. So Kanban is from the world of manufacturing, where there's this pull methodology, where work is pulled in, is also used. For example, at Yahoo, the former Yahoo at least, they used to use a combination of Scrum and Kanban. They called it Scrumban. Then there's lean software development. Lean, again, the word lean, which has come from lean manufacturing from the 1960s, talks about eliminating muda, muda being fat or waste, the Japanese word muda, which refers to getting rid of the unnecessary fat. So there are 7 types of muda, and lean software development principles also are aligned with eliminating or at least reducing those unnecessary fatty items, basically, for lack of a better term. Okay.
Hey, can you hear me, Hasnan?
Yeah, I sure can.
We have some questions if you want to look. The first one is from Bilal. He's asking,
okay, for sure,
between Agile and Scrum, or are they interchangeable terms? And before that, I just want to say something. I know some of you guys are from telecom or other backgrounds. Maybe it feels like a little overwhelming or maybe boring to some extent, but to be very honest, this is what I do on a daily basis. Or even anybody who is a software developer or a PM or a program manager who works in a software, Salesforce, SAP, this is a daily job. I go in there, basically we have a product backlog done by product owners that we actually, as a team leads, we pick it up, and then it goes to your Scrum Master. They actually look into that, and whatever he's telling you, like we also use at my job, a combination of Kanban board and a Scrum. And we use, for example, there are multiple tools, probably he might tell you, but like Jira and version 1 or 2, I am more familiar with. I use Jira in the past. We use version 1 right now. But just to let you know, I know it sounds like a little overwhelming if you haven't worked hands-on, but this is like a reality day in, day out. It's almost like an email that you use on a work that you use all the time. So this is first thing in the morning and last thing in the day before leaving, and then again first thing in the morning when you go back. So if you really are interested in working in software developer, this is your Bible basically. So you will be looking at it. So make sure you give your utmost attention to it, because it is the methodology that you will be working regardless of machine learning, Python, Java, whatever you do. This is how the things work in the industry. So just to emphasize on the importance of this, because sometimes we kind of alluded that, oh, maybe they are just a theoretical and whatever, but this is super real. So in future, if I get a chance, I can even try to get some free licenses or maybe free versions and show you these tools, how they look like. So if you don't have experience, you can see it firsthand. So back to you, Hasnan, and you can answer the questions, Bilal.
Thank you.
Somebody,
Ali. Very good. Well, I didn't realize I had celebrities in my class and did this session today. Amazing. So anyway, Bilal, it's good to have you on board, my friend. Listen, the difference between Agile and Scrum is very, very clear. Let me be very, very clear on it. Agile is a family of methodologies. Okay. So under Agile, there's XP, Scrum, Lean, FDD, DSDM. I mean, the alphabet soup continues on. There's so many that fall under Agile. Okay, Agile has certain core principles that need to be met, and I will go through those 4 core principles in just a minute here with the subsequent slide. But within the Agile family, the most popular methodology is Scrum. Okay, and Scrum has its roots in software development. So tying into Ali's question about can Agile only be used for software development? No, that's the Scrum board will tell you you can use Agile in real estate projects and marketing projects, and they're actually even used, frankly speaking, even in entertainment, like at Hollywood. The scripts, the way these, if you watch these daily, I assume many of you don't watch these daily soap operas that run out of Hollywood. Well, I have a lot of these actors who are, some of my students, these, they're not super famous actors, but nonetheless, they use Agile methodologies to work through those scripts. So Agile actually is applicable in many areas, but its most natural fit is in software development. Now, if you're talking about integration and deployment projects, it's a second very close natural fit. And frankly speaking, sort of like what Khurram was saying, the tools that are coming out are all now blending themselves, presenting themselves as agile friendly. So there's Atlassian, this Australian company that has the Jira product that he's talking about, Confluence, which is another product that they have. They're all presenting themselves now as agile friendly and built in with natural inherent tools that are comfortable for you to run projects using one of the agile methodologies. Again, as I say, Scrum is the most popular amongst them all. Hopefully that makes it clear. Okay. All righty. So let's continue on. How do I, Khurram, I'm gonna have to erase this. Let's see, where's my fancy eraser? Okay, there it is. Excellent, just give me a second. It was kind of fun drawing here. I felt like a kid again. All righty, let me erase this real quick. And then we will get back to our show. Okay, so what qualifies as something being agile? Like, for example, if Khurram created a methodology to run projects, how would we say, yes, you know what you've created is in fact an agile approach to running projects? Well, in 2001, there was confusion around this in the 1990s because a whole bunch of people were out there claiming that they're using agile software development approaches, agile IT approaches, and agile this and agile that. And it was getting confusing. So what happened in 2001 is that 17 of the agile gurus, self-declared gurus out there, got together in Utah, and they came up with what is known as the Agile Manifesto, okay, which consists of 4 paired core values. Again, while this conversation is theoretical, it has a lot of practical implications, actually. Gotta tell you, like, conceptually, the way we work, it genuinely, there's a little bit of a difference. I won't say it's a revolutionary difference, but there's definitely a difference in the way we work and our teams are structured. And, so let me quickly try to go through this briefly and explain some of this. Each one of these has a lot of depth behind it. But the way it reads is that the first half, so for example, with this first one here, just give me a second. Individuals and interactions are more important than processes and tools. Does that mean that we shouldn't have processes? Does that mean that we shouldn't have any tools? No, of course not. It's just that the way we behave, the way individuals work together, the way individuals interact is a lot more important than the second half. And now that really becomes relevant and valuable if you think about it, because we're talking about skilled labor. I mean, what is it that you and I get, paid for, and why do organizations invest in you and me? It's not for our muscle power, it's for our intellectual power, right? So it's the way we interact, the way we collaborate in a team environment, and how we come together to deliver value that becomes very, very important. The second very important piece is actually working product. So something working is more valuable than something half-baked or just a bunch of documentation around a particular possibility. Again, it's not that documentation isn't valuable, but actual working product, working increment is more valuable. Okay. The third bullet point is about customer collaboration. So here, again, philosophically, this becomes important, and also the way we would work in an environment this would be a drastic change, in my humble opinion, from what I've seen with clients, in that the customer and us are no longer two sides of a coin. We're in it together. And it's easy to say that, we're the customer and us, and the customer is the most important. Customer's king, customer's queen. We say all these things all the time, but here we're actually genuinely working hand in hand. We're like tied to the hip, working together. And actually, we even incentivize the customer to stay engaged with us. A lot of customers just want to sort of pay and say, hey, listen, take care of it. I'll pay you, you solve my issues, and I'm out of here, right? But that's not what Agile wants at all. Agile wants the customer to stay engaged on a, really, frankly speaking, a daily basis if possible, or the representative for the customer, which typically in the Scrum role is called a product owner or product manager, that type of role. The fourth idea is that we will be responsive to change that is valuable. So we will be responsive to valuable change. We will, in fact, embrace and welcome, and we would actually encourage the team to find valuable changes. Now think about this. In the real world, when we're trying to deliver a software solution, we're just barely being able to meet the plan, barely being able to meet the schedule. But here, we're actually embracing change. We're actually, in other words, taking on potentially more work, because every change involves potentially some rework, right? And potentially some redesign, and potentially some replanning, and so on and so forth. So we're actually embracing that because we realize and we appreciate that these changes may be more valuable for us in the larger scheme of things. Okay. All righty. Let me continue on then. Let's see. There's a comment here. Okay, no worries. Very good. All right, so again, as I said, there are over a dozen like really famous methodologies, but there are a bucket full out there. This solar system looking thing is called extreme programming. Again, there's a whole philosophy behind each one of these. If I, unfortunately, I would have to spend a couple of hours to explain this to you. But again, it's nothing complex. You can read up on this on the internet. I can send some links later on that we could share in one of the group settings that Khurram was referring to earlier. And what you can actually do is you can combine some of these methodologies, as I was saying. So you could easily combine XP principles with Scrum in certain areas. Kanban with Scrum can be combined. So something with Scrum is generally what's in fashion. Scrum tends to remain there along with something else. DSDM, for example, is something that you may probably never see in the US. It's popular with the UK military and things of that nature. Crystal, again, you are unlikely to see it unless you work in some very specific environments. It's again, a conversation that deserves its own due time and respect in that regard. So where does Agile fit in the larger scheme of things? Agile fits into this mid-tier here. Agile isn't a solution for everything, okay? So whether it's Scrum or XP or DSDM or Lean Software Development, they make sense in this particular area, this white area here. So they don't necessarily make sense in a very simple project. A very simple, straightforward project doesn't require iterations and replanning and embracing change, because we know exactly what we need and what we want, and it's very straightforward. So why would we embrace change in that environment? And on the flip side, Agile doesn't make sense in total chaos land either. where you have absolutely no plan, no vision, no clear sense of direction. Again, it's not a solution for total, it's not a solution for the fish market, basically, either. It fits in sort of an environment that has complexity. Now, complexity tends to refer to this idea where there's an element of uncertainty. There's some technical challenges. We don't know everything for certain right up front. And so we're going to need to do some empirical software development and then testing and demoing to get feedback from the customer representatives to verify and confirm that this is in fact valuable for the customer. The second domain is value-driven delivery. So in value-driven delivery, what we focus on is the idea that everything that we're developing needs to have a value focus behind it. Is it valuable for the customer? How can we quantify that value? How did we confirm that it's valuable for the customer? So you want to launch a new feature, for example, whether it's in your car or whether it's in a software product, does it make sense from a value perspective? That's the key question there. Value-driven delivery is very, very important. The third domain is stakeholder engagement. So in the agile world, we were a lot more engaged with the stakeholder. As I mentioned, there's a daily stand-up. There are weekly retrospectives typically, which is a meeting where we sort of do like a review of work completed and how we can improve upon it in subsequent weeks. We're typically, ideally, co-located. And if we're not co-located, we're at least connected throughout the day through some virtual telepresence technology, between each other. Then there's this whole philosophy around team performance where this is the fourth domain in the agile world. And in this domain, what happens is we're referring to the idea that the team's performance is what matters. We're not as focused, I have to say this carefully, but we're not as focused on the individual performance. We're more interested in team performance and the team results rather than individual results. And the team is much more empowered and enabled. And there are, many ideas behind it, such as servant leadership and other methodologies like that. Then the next domain is adaptive planning. So as opposed to planning everything up front, we have a general bare bones plan up front, but then as we work through the project, we adaptively plan, we iteratively, in waves, in small waves we plan through, and we learn from the previous wave, and then we progressively plan. It's called rolling wave planning. We plan in small waves along the way. Each one of these, again, is a full lecture unto itself, each one of these domains. And then we do problem detection and resolution. This is the sixth domain. And in this domain, we talk about the idea that, we keep a very, very close eye on detecting problems as early as possible and resolving them as early as possible. We don't want to introduce waste into our software development lifecycle or any product development lifecycle, frankly speaking. So we try to be very prevention oriented, and we actually will invest in this upfront so that we can prevent errors from escaping as early as possible in our journey. And the last domain is continuous improvement. So we're never satisfied. So the idea is that, for example, if our team performed at a level, they use different metrics. Like in Agile, we use a metric called velocity, for example. So let's say we're at a velocity of 200 on our first project. Well, for the next project, it would not be acceptable for us to be at a velocity of 200. We need to improve to 205 or 210. Something needs to improve. I mean, surely there's got to be something we could do better the next time around, right? And again, we deploy whatever continuous improvement principles we can behind it as far as the underlying principles go in the larger scheme of things. So those are the 7 main domains that Agile refers to. And, again, I will leave you at the end with this basic thought that, we really just can't continue to work the same way. I mean, the market's getting a lot more competitive. And I say agile is really not that new an idea either, frankly speaking. It would behoove you, if you're in the software space in particular, but really if you have anything to do with IT in general, business analysis, IT, project management, development, support, in my humble opinion, it would behoove you to uh, consider even getting certified in one of the Scrum certifications, at least in the market. Where if not, at least definitely get yourself familiar with agile principles, and in particular Scrum. Within the agile world, if you focus on Scrum, that should probably be the most valuable for you. If you have any subsequent questions, please feel free to reach me. Khurram has my contact info, of course. And if there are any other questions, I'm happy to address those. Khurram?
Thank you very much, Hasnan. So yeah, please guys, again, really appreciate Hasnan for taking time out from your busy schedule and helping us out to giving some valuable information. And
No.
yeah, please keep the screen for a couple of minutes so everybody can note it down. So it's hrrizvi@rizvis.ca, and this is his LinkedIn profile. Yeah, you guys can also see my LinkedIn links for his profile, so you can catch him directly. He also provide individual and group-based trainings, any sort of agile training. If you're your company looking for, feel free to reach out to him. I personally started my PMP journey with him, and he's very, very informative and valuable. So again, thanks a lot, Hasnan. If there is no other question, I'll take it back.
Thank you so much. Very good. All righty. So
Thank you, Hasnan.
Okay,
thank you.
I got it.
Very much.
So guys, thanks a lot for joining the session. If you have any issues, please, we can continue on, and if there is anything that we can resolve offline, we can do it after I finish the session, so you can still carry on. But again, thanks a lot for joining. This is the first session. So again, as I said, this is just an idea concept that I want to develop. And as just to update you guys, I just received a message from one of our very good friend in Canada. She has just launched her first company, which is blockchain AI based, and they are working in financial sector. So she will be providing us her valuable input in upcoming sessions. She's a CEO and a founder of the same company as well. So just watch out for that. She will be joining either in third or fourth session. In the meantime, I will also try to reach out some other folks for their next session. And again, we will have a different concept, so that whatever goes along with the Python or AI in general, so we can get more in-depth information about blockchain or about AWS and things like that, or any other experts that can help you gain the valuable information. We'll keep that going. And as I said initially, you are feel free to forward this link to any of your friends if they want to join from any other locations. And again, this is an open session. Make sure you also forward it to guys who have experience and they want to contribute just an hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, just to give their valuable feedback to our teams. And then we can definitely take their help for that. One more thing that I would like to mention: if you work on a company or you are engaged with a couple of startups or company that are willing to provide us any projects, again, there is no charge, a free of charge, that we will work with them and basically use their infrastructure or their ideas to create a prototype projects or a mock-ups for them. So if you know maybe your company is interested and they have some idea, but they are limited because of the resources, again, let you know that AI resources are super expensive. They are one of the most sought out after right now. So if you go out and see, people are charging $500,000 to $1 million per month if you are expert in that domain, obviously on a very top notch level, but even on a regular level, they are very, very expensive. So again, this is something which is brand new, and something, if you get in on a right time, you will really you really be happy about it in future once we prolong. So again, thanks a lot. We have also created a WhatsApp group. I will probably send an email with the link if you haven't got it. Atul has, I think, already shared with most of you. But if you haven't gotten, you just watch out for your email or LinkedIn. I can send the link out so you can join our WhatsApp group, our LinkedIn group. And if you have any issues right now, you can stay. And then rest of you guys, thanks a lot. And we'll closing our session for our journal. And then We will continue next week, same time, Sunday, 9 to 12 a.m., 9 to 12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Khurram.
Thank you.